says that I should still wait another 20 seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and start. So hello and welcome to Grace and Lottie's Elizabeth here, ready for our Monday live stream. Being going to be working in Twilight Gardens with our Koh-i-noor Progressive Woodless pencils. It's our owl picture. Let's go ahead and flip over right here. In our previous live streams, we've done the flowers, the blueberries, the acorns through here. Today I'm going to work on these that our term was always black-eyed Susans for them. I don't know what the technical term is for them. So these are going to be a yellow and a dark brown, almost black, with the centers here. So we've got 3 of those. We'll only do 1 in the live stream today and then do the rest off camera just to kind of help save a little time so that this live stream doesn't end up being like 17 hours long, because these do get rather long quickly. Gonna make up my mind whether we're gonna go ahead and do the leaves. I'm just still deciding whether they're going to be more of a fall color for an oak leaf or if I'm going to do them green since our owl will be so brown. I'm still making up my mind on that one. Going back and forth and debating because we're going to do a brown owl right here in the middle. So that is where we are today. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna zoom in. We're gonna do the middle one. It's right here. Right there today, so I'll zoom in a little bit more for us. There, that'll I think, give us a good shot, maybe a hair more. There we go. That gives us quite a bit of view, because if we get to the leaves, we can go ahead and do the leaves right there. That'll be great. So hopefully my camera has stopped bouncing. It has. The joy of the tripod system here in the arm is that when you touch it, it does bounce. It wiggles quite a bit. Again, using these Koh-i-noor Progressives, I really, really, really like these pencils. They are woodless. That means they're a little more prone to breakage because they don't have any wood protecting them. But they are the same makeup as your regular Koh-i-noor pencils. So it's an oil-based color pencil. So still get great, vivid color and lay down on your page with them. Just don't have the outer shell. They come in a package of 12 and 24. And personally, actually, let's start with the yellow ochre in there. I may come back and do another color for the shade up in the very, very tip here. And I think they're great. I like working at times with these smaller sets just because it kind of cuts down on having to make so many choices. You're not looking through a ton of pencils trying to figure out now which one's the right one, and having to sift and choose, and then you spend 20 minutes trying to decide the right color when you could have been putting color on the page instead during that time. So, yeah, I love these. This is the dark yellow here. I'm just doing a simple top to bottom and the shadowing out with these. Been using Gamsol as well on these for my blending agent. I like it a lot. It works great in the larger areas. When we do this cone right here in the middle, this also I guess could have been coneflower, which is bright pink. But I've got these pink flowers, so I thought these would be fun in yellow. I use the blender pencil. It's too much work to try to get in there with the Gamsol. Now using my regular yellow, almost to the end. Now I'm going to come back in with another shade to be in the shadow. Doesn't take a lot of pressure, which is nice, especially when you're doing Gamsol blending. You never have to push real hard to blend it. So it keeps fatigue down on your hand so that you're not getting exhausted. Your hand just doesn't start to ache too much. Oh, I don't have chat up. Let me put chat up. There's chat up. I moved these. I realized the other day how loud that they were when I was making a move. I'm using the white here. It's not highly visible on this, but when I go to blend, I find it allows a little bit of the yellow to carry through to get that nice light yellow on the edge with these. Now here's my Gamsol, just a little bottle. I did learn something this past week with this. I've been using, I'm going to show you this brush. This is a low Koh-i-noor brush that I got just from Hobby Lobby, a little shader. And I've been using it to try to blend and on a bigger piece. And it's been okay. But I've had this one for a while. It's a Master's Touch little filbert. And I've always been happy with the way it did it. It worked with it, and that was the original my brush for blending. And I was surprised at how much this one wasn't blending the color, even though it had the Gamsol on it and everything. It's like I didn't think there was a difference in how the brushes would react. So I went and got the next two sizes up of this brush, and it's crazy to me how different it was. I would have never guessed that there would be a difference in them. So not all brushes are created equal for blending, just FYI, what I learned this week, so you can know that. So if your brush isn't blending great, maybe try another one. So because this is kind of a creamy paper, the yellow, you don't see the blending as much, but I can see here, and I don't know how well it's translating through the camera, that it's making the yellow just a hair more vivid as it blends, which is what I want. I want it to be a deep, vivid yellow. Yellows are the tricky ones sometimes to get a nice, bright yellow. So, some other colors are easier. Grab a sip of my coffee because I'm still getting into the hang of things. Monday mornings, getting back into the hang of sitting down and working. Sometimes takes a little more work than others. Today is one of those days, I think. So I'm going to think through here yellow. What color I'm going to use to shadow? I think I'm going to use the brown on these. Purple could work too. I think it's not the right choice for this one. So I'm going to put in just a teeny bit brown up here. This is that dark sepia brown that's in this. I'll get the exact name. Natural sepia or sepia. I've heard both pronunciations, don't know for sure which one's correct. And I'm going to get the dark yellow here and work this in a little bit more, a little more yellow. See, here's layer, lots of layers. You can see that natural sepia coming down a little bit with it too, which is what I want. I want my transitions on these to be pretty seamless. I'd love to know where you are watching from. You're joining us this morning. I am in sunny California. It is a beautiful sunny day. Normally, as I've learned here, that this time of year is what they refer to it as the May gray and the June gloom. And so we get a little bit cloudy skies. Coming from another area, it doesn't really seem that gloomy or gray where we are, because I'm used to like January in Kentucky where you may not get to see the sun for a whole month. You know, you just have cloudy day, cloudy day, cloudy day, cloudy day. So here it is not that difficult or hard on us. But I guess when you compare it to the norm in San Diego, it is pretty gloomy. I'll just smooth this out with the Gamsol again. Great. There we go, some bright, vivid yellow. Happy with that. With the cone flowers, I'm going to be using my sepia and my natural sepia and the regular brown going in on this, and then I'll probably pull the highlights up with the ochre. Pretty sure I will. I'm just going to start on with these. Now I have a nice sharp point on this. I'm trying to put in quite a bit of color. I'm pressing a little more firmly than I have when I was laying in the yellow. Not a ton, but just a little bit. It's one of the things I like about this Woodless set, is that you can get these beautiful points with them. I have the Prismacolor art sticks, that Woodless set, and they are great for large areas, but I could never imagine trying to do detail like this with those. Just like it would be harder to do large areas with these. I have used them in conjunction with my other Koh-i-noors to lay down base layers, especially if I want to kind of block out where I'm going with different colors ahead of time. I've done that before and come back in and done upper layers to get all the highlights and shadows in. So that was with the sepia. Now I'm going in with the regular brown. One of my favorite things to color are little dots like these. It's something I've always enjoyed. You know, like scales on fish, kind of fall under this kind of texture as well. I really enjoy these quite a bit. They're fun to do with tritones as well, where you can rotate your pencil with each one and you get a slightly different shade. It's another fun effect you can do. If you're just joining us, I'd love to know where you're watching from this morning and what it's like where you are. My son is off at camp working as a counselor for the next 4 weeks. I'm getting to talk to some people from different areas, and some of the counselors who are going to be there with them are from Hawaii and things like that. And it's kind of neat to talk with somebody who's been right there with the volcano and every excitement they've had there, and hearing their account of what else going on. And you know, if we listened to the news, we would kind of lend ourselves to think that like the whole island's on fire, and that's not the case. You know. So hello, Katrina in Chicago. I love Chicago. There's a straight shot up 65 from where we used to live. Easy trip up. Sadly, the last time I was there, I can say was pretty much 11, almost 12 years ago. I was pregnant with my daughter, very pregnant. Fun city. I am debating even touching that with a blender because I like the way it looks right now. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm really loving just the way it's sitting. I don't know if I want to blend it. I don't think I'm going to. I'm just going to leave it the way it is because I'm happy with the way that looks. So there is what I saw as a black-eyed Susan. You could see it as a coneflower and make it pink, whatever you want. It would be a little black in the center if you do a coneflower, just FYI. So we got the leaves and the stem for this. And I'm going to do those pretty dark green, very similar to our blueberries here, just because they're kind of tucked back, and that's just kind of a natural way to do them. I've got my, I can't remember the dark green, Hooker's green. I can't ever remember. It's funny that I can never remember that color's name. Funny name. It's a Bob Ross name, you know, you can hear him saying. He'll be working, probably when he's going through the colors that you're going to be working in that day. Let's put a teeny bit of purple on there just to really drive home the fact that I'm not sitting back in the shadow. And sap green right here to bridge it. And I am going to use my blender pencil, and you can laugh at how tiny my blender pencil is right now. I do have a bigger one, but I have fun seeing how small I can make my pencils before I give up using them. Probably a little stubborn thing I like to do. But yep, happy with that. So now we're going to go over to that leaf. Similar idea here. The nice thing is she's put in these dots on it, and those imply shadow as well. So it'll help make it even more shadowed for us. Give us a little help. And you can see I'm just working my way from the base pretty dark, and then lightening as I come out to the edge of this leaf. Right there. Teeny bit purple. Just at the joints here. Now use our sap green again. Add some color. There's a couple ways to do highlights on your leaves. You can go to like a really lime or even use yellow on it. I'm looking at this trying to decide what I want to do. I think I'm going to use just a teeny bit of lime up here. On that edge. Now we'll blend in, clean in my blender brush here. I've got paper towel that you guys, excuse me, can't see. Get the yellow off because I don't want to put any more yellow in this leaf. So I was cleaning some of the excess off of the brush. Pull that color. That's going to start. When you put the gamsol on, it'll look a little darker than it's going to finish just because it is wet. So know that when you're working with it. Be careful not to get clean on that pretty yellow right there because it will show up. And if it's just a pencil stroke, I can get that off pretty easily with the eraser, but if it's the gamsol, it's a little harder to fix that mistake. There we go. I like that. I've been working to try to make sure that all my leaves look a little different in color, so the fact that this one looks different than the one up here is good. I'm happy with that. So we've got that done. We've got this flower down here. And it's off camera right now. And I still haven't decided what color I want it to be. I thought I would see what my other colors look like all together. I thought maybe orange, just because we don't really have any orange in this piece, and that might be neat. We have the red mushrooms. But yeah, I think the orange would be a lot of fun on that, just to kind of mix it up a little bit and have that vivid color there. I'm still debating on those leaves. I go back and forth. Let's go ahead and put in the branch. That may help me. See, branches are easy. So I'm gonna start with the sepia for the little shadow bits. Let these attach. Are they coming out from behind something? These little bits don't even have enough room to. Now I'm gonna do a little bit lighter so it feathers in. These like little broken knots and make them dark. Kind of made me think something had been there at one time. No, it's not. Now going in with our regular brown after that natural sepia. This will be another area where we do not use the gamsol just because it's so skinny. Make yourself go cross-eyed trying to get that perfect. You can do it with a little brush, but just because you can doesn't mean it's the best choice. So I'm going to use my brown here, a little bit of a blender. So there's a simple twig. Now I think that's a little lighter than I want it to be, so I'm going to come back in now with my sepia. What you can do, because this is like tree bark, just kind of just creating these little lines on it. That's going to keep it from being super flat. Right there, and I can kind of step back from it. There's not a ton of texture right now. I'm actually going with a little bit more texture because I'm pressing a little harder and using the sharp points. There we go. That gave us a little bit of texture on that branch. Not a lot, because it's not a focal point. Your eye isn't drawn to study that piece, so don't feel like you need to get out a twig and look and make it look exact. Just give the idea that some texture is there with it. The owl is where your eye is going to be drawn, and probably these little red mushrooms, because they're red, will be another area. So, still debating on those leaves. I think I'm going to go with green with them, just because it'll make the acorns really pop on top of them. Even though technically, I think when the acorns are mature, most of the time the oak tree has dark leaves, or has brown leaves. But I like the idea that they're going to show up really well against it, and that'll make our owl being brown, rather than being camouflage, which doing a camouflage owl would be pretty cool too, but I think I want the owl to really pop against the background, so we will do those green. After much debating, I finally made up my mind. So, this one we're going to use more of the we're going green. I don't know why I just looked and did brown. We're going green, we're going to start with ogre's green. Just to kind of go around where shadows are in here. These are going to be more of a true green, so I'm just kind of looking at where your shadows would be. I'm putting in a little bit. probably end up doing about 2 or 3 layers in this before it's all said and done. Just so you know, I'm going in so light right now. I'm working hard not to create a hard line. So we had some exciting news this week. We have finally found a place and we'll be moving. Moving into San Diego from where we've been. So excited about that. I've been looking for a couple of months now and just decided that we were going to go ahead and rent a place as we continue to look. Just because we don't know how much longer it's going to be before we find a house, and we're just so cramped where we are right now. And I would rather not purchase a house based on just my desperate desire to be out of cramped, but rather find the right house. So I'm waiting on our move-in date right now because they're replacing the flooring in it. It seems like be within the next 2 weeks. New place. Has so much natural light too, which I'm very excited about. My old studio had 3 large windows, and it was just so nice and bright, and it was a happy room, and our whole apartment has 3 windows, so it's been a little gloomy in comparison on some days, just from the natural light perspective. You know, went from having a ton to next to none. So I've got these 2 lights that I've got hanging from the ceiling here at my desk so that I can light up my table so that you guys can see what I'm doing. And it's still the room. You know, I think we've got 5 lamps in here, and it still doesn't feel bright. There's no overhead light, because my studio's in our living room, and it's just like, wow, how much we fight just to get light in this place. I'm gonna come back in. I'm gonna darken the edges just a little bit more with the hooker's green. Not doing the interior sections of the leaf, just the outer edge. She did a lot of detail with the veining in these leaves, which I like quite a bit. And don't worry, they look really pale right now. That's because I'm going to be doing a lot of layers. And by building the layers, we ought to get quite a bit of dimension on these, but it comes down to being patient to build those layers. Step back, look. I'll come back in now with my sap green. Put a little bit more in. And after this layer, we'll do our first gamsol blend. One of the things I like with working with color pencils is that none of the individual steps in and of themselves are difficult. It's more of an exercise in patience to keep working get to that, finished product. It's just a matter of going back and going back and going back and knowing that you don't need to do it in the first, like the first time, the first layer, let it be multiple layers and you'll get really cool results. Okay, this first layer. This is gonna look like a really pale watercolor, this first one. Looking good. It's doing what I wanted. I'm working in little circles because once you kind of get that initial couple of strokes in with it, there's still plenty of Gamsol left on the brush, but you work it in a little bit more and you'll see it blends beautifully when you do it that way. You know what these are kind of making me think about, looking at these, working these little sections. It's like they're almost like Brussels sprouts. We were at a restaurant last night and one of the appetizers was Brussels sprouts, and it was really a little place. And it was so funny, somebody ordered it and like immediately when they started cooking it, you could smell, yep, there's the Brussels sprout, because it was such a small place.
I asked if the place was burning.
Yeah, Ben thought the place was trying to burn down. The smell of Brussels sprouts. When we were selling our previous house, Ben made roasted Brussels sprouts that night for dinner.
They were good.
Oh, but the house reeked so bad. He says they were good.
Sold the house.
It reeked. Oh, we ended up getting an offer, even though the house smelled. We didn't go with that offer, but selling in the market right now is a funny thing because you'll get offers almost immediately. At least in the areas we've been. I don't know if that's like true 100% nationwide, but now I'm coming back with the bigger screen, do a little bit more on the edges. And this is just on the edges. And where it is in direct shadow from something else. What am I doing this color? One thing I like to, as I'm going, kind of adjust what I'm doing and check, because sometimes you'll find that your shadow isn't going quite as deep as you'd like, and so that's when I'll come in and either use the purple or the blue, and by doing these layers and being patient with it, that allows you to adjust on the fly that much easier. That, okay, this isn't quite working the way I wanted. I can tweak. So when you've got a bunch of layers down, it's harder to do that. Or when you've got, not a bunch of layers, but when you've got a bunch of color laid down, if you lay down them once. Art lesson for the day, Rothko used to do that in his paintings. He did the, if you're not familiar with Rothko, he did the ones that look like there's kind of colors swashed and lines a lot on his or in blocks. And he would do light layer after light layer and build the color up slowly on it to create certain effects. So. This is the sap green. I really enjoy trying to get as vivid of a color as I can on things. I know some people enjoy the pastel look of things, which is, is good on its own. That's just not my style. I just feel like add more color, add more color, add more color. And the natural way I go with it. What type of styles do you guys like to do? Are you more of the pastel? Are you vivid? Or do you do simple color blocking? So rather than working on necessarily getting all these different levels and layers in the color, do you just go in and do it a solid color, which is also a perfectly okay way to do it. Just curious what styles everybody likes. I like to try to find the balance too between it being real and it still being cartoon, because none of these drawings are like realistic sketches, So if you're gonna fight to make it look super real, it's kind of strange to me, because you're not gonna ever achieve it looking like a photograph. I mean, that's just not what it's gonna do. I do work that looks like that, especially in my succulents. And so in this area, it's like I could sit here and work and do that, but it seems strange considering the drawing itself doesn't lend itself to that style, in my opinion. So I don't know if you're noticing, we had a leaf here that was done in somewhat of a similar fashion to this one, but it looks different just because of the amount of the dark green versus the hooker's green and sap green. And it's so neat, this is using the same pencils, but yet you can create different looks just in how they're combined. And again, showing that you don't need this set of 120 pencils to create varied looks. Now these leaves are kind of making me think of kale, not Brussels sprouts. Curious, but are they making you think of anything? Okay. Next is what I'm gonna deepen this a little bit, and I'm gonna kind of pull out my big guns here with going with a dark blue on it for a shadow, which I'm using the one that is called dark blue. Pretty easy, right? It's pretty straightforward. Now I'm going to be doing this not on the edges, but where the shadows are. This is kind of tucked behind something. Kind of send it to the background a little bit more. You can already see how that's doing that. Now I'm not going far out from the pieces here. So I'm pretty tight in, just to kind of outline it with it, right there. So also give us a line here, because if you notice that leaf was kind of bleeding into this leaf. Let's define this a little bit more. Now I'm going to go back with that hooker's green again. We're going to, especially where I just put in those shadows, blend those in. I'm also going to go around the edges one more time here. Just to darken those up a little bit. My puppy's moving. She got her first haircut over the weekend. It's super cute. Her fur was growing over her eyes, and so even though she's really young, we needed to get her trimmed just so she could see. She was born with so much hair. I'm going to go back and just hit the outlines of the little sections one more time too. With the sapphire, I'm not going to pull any color really in. These are just sort of like these lines a little bit more. Looks like nice green healthy leaves. These trees had plenty of water and sunshine. And then they got picked. You can kind of imagine that there are plenty of happy squirrels living in this tree. One of the things I miss coming from Kentucky to here out in California is I don't see as many squirrels. We had a ton of squirrels in our backyard back in Kentucky. And they were hilarious. I mean, they were so much fun to watch because they would do the funniest things. We had one that we called Ninja Squirrel because he would try to, it almost looked like he was trying to do parkour off of things in our yard. Just to show off. I mean, he had no reason to be doing them. Like, yes, I can go up this pole and then jump off sideways just because I can. When I was growing up, we had a one-armed squirrel we named Petey. And we fed him just because, you know, he's a one-armed squirrel. We felt sorry that he only had one arm and wanted to take care of him. So now every time I see a one-armed squirrel, I automatically name it Petey. Now with this layer of gamsol, you notice I'm purposely not blending it all the way to the middle. The middles are as dark as I want them to be. I'm just working the edges here. much I've laid down. If I took my brush all the way to the middle, it would blend it to the middle. It's really easy to control it when you used up a little bit on the brush. Even dabbing it on the paper towel, I find that sometimes the first time I go over to my piece, it takes a little bit of work to get it to where it's more in the blending mode versus just putting down the liquid. You can see I got a little bit of green up there. I'll get that with my eraser pencil in a minute. I actually forgot to get it out of my bag, so it's hidden right now. So I'll probably fix that off camera, but know that little eraser pencil will take care of that and clean it up really well and really easy. There we go. Look at those bright leaves. I am very happy with those. It took a couple of steps, but once we got through the steps, you saw it wasn't that any step itself was complicated. It's just being patient and taking time with those. And you get this great look. And I'm going to call it for there because if I start anything else, we're going to be out of time. So that is it for today. Let's zoom out the camera so you can see how that fits into the whole piece here. Oop, wrong way. Sorry for the bounce. There we go. So you can see the whole thing. And I will be doing the other flowers and leaves back here, except for this one. I will leave that one till next week for the live stream off camera. And then you can go over to the Instagram, which, the special page right here. Thanks for watching. And go over to the Instagram and you can check out there and you'll be able to see pictures of all of the different components to this one, as well as I'll do them like close so you can see them a little bit easier for what we worked on today and study it if you need to with the still. So that's all going to be over there. So please, if you've enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, as well as watch for us every Monday at 10 o'clock. I am Pacific time. I'm working on being very, very good about scheduling my live stream and being up and here every single week, so that it stays normal, especially when my internet is working. Makes me happy when the internet's working. So we had a great day today, nice and clear video. I'm